Hey everybody, happy Wednesday.
Good morning.
Hey, me and Michelle, we are back to share some nuggets. The excitement is real right now. We just got back from Utah. Some of us on here did, and a lot of people got to tune in virtually. And what I can tell you is if there was a time for you to really sit down and just say, hey, what do I want out of this? This is the time for you to do just that. And that's what we're gonna dive into today. Michelle, did you want to go first? You want me to go first? Okay. So she wants me to go first today. And what's been on my mind, it was amazing that I actually started watching this Bob Proctor, this little course he had I signed up for, and it was like 5 days. And so as I was watching it, and then I go to the event, and then I'm like, wow. Because in that, what he talked about was vision. He was asking, what is your vision? What are your goals? And he's like, and the way he broke it down is I wrote it down. So I just had to come back and share with you guys. He said a lot of us will make some A-type goals, which are the goals you know how to do. You already know how to brush your teeth every day. You already know how to reach out to people. You already know how to make a list a lot of times. So a lot of us will make those A-type goals, but he says, and then some people are elevating, they go to the B type goals, as he call it. He says, you think you can do it. Like you think you can accomplish something so simple, but he's like, where you really need to get into your life is the C type of goal. What do you really want to do? What is it that you really want? Is it that you want to take your family to Disney World without having to worry about looking at the bank account? You're like, you know what? Hey, here it goes. Is it what do you want your team to look like? What do you want your organization to look like? I think about Erica and a year, almost a year and a half or a little bit longer than that, she had a vision of her wanting Africa to get launched. It took a year and a half, but guess what? Monday it happened. And see, that is where what kind of vision do you want? Me and Todd were talking, we were sitting in first class, and that was also a vision of mine. Like it was something I was like, you know what? One day I'm gonna be sitting first class. And guess what? When I wrote it down and I put it into the atmosphere, it happened. And that's my thing. What is it for you? Is it the kind of car you want, the type of house you want, the type of land you want? Do you want horses? Do you want what kind of well, carpet isn't a thing anymore. So what kind of tile, what kind of hardwood floors do you want? What do you want your house, your dream house to look like? What do you want your business to look like? Right now is the time. When we sat down with Mark Wilson, when I first got there, man, the guy had a vision of where he wanted this company to go. And him and Fred didn't care about the hiccups that came because they still were tied down to the vision. And so my thing is, and what's been on my mind is I see a lot of people say, I'm excited, I'm excited, I'm excited, but you don't even know where you want to go. You have to write it out. You have to draw it out. Todd talks about it a lot. Anybody who watched him on TV, but that's what he talked about. With me, he took it a little bit more in depth. So when I sent him the picture, it wasn't good enough. He wanted me to write down the color of the inside of the car I wanted, the tile I wanted, what I wanted my kitchen to look like. And I just want you to spend, it may take you a few days. It may take you a week to do that. But I'm telling you, once you put it on paper, you write it out in detail, the most details you can get of what you truly want, your vision. And then you'll start to see it coming about. You'll also realize that when you're working and you're picking up the phone and you're getting rejected, that guess what? It doesn't matter because you're pushing for something great for you and your family and for generations to come. And you got to use your mental your your mental aspect of this. And the way Bob Proctor put it, he put it into these 6 categories. And I just want you to think about it. And anybody who wants that recording, I actually found it on YouTube, so I can send you. It's like 5 days worth, but it's very, very good because he really can open up your mind. And I love Bob Proctor. But the first one is your perception. What is your perception on things? The second one that he said you really need to work on is your imagination. Quit. He said matter of fact, the best way he said to do an imagination, and it works, you guys. It is crazy how once you get how you get this imagination going. But he said, get a candle, put it, if you're in your office, put the candle opposite of the room. Or if you're sitting wherever you're sitting, put it opposite of the room, turn everything off and light up the candle and focus in on that candle and just start thinking about it and just looking at it. And what he's going to tell you, and what is true, because I tried it, after about 2 seconds, your mind wanders off and you start thinking about something that, oh, that's boring. But then come back to it. Because what it's doing is teaching you how to focus on what you truly, truly want. And what I can tell you is, what, about 5 days ago, I could barely do it. Now I can sit there and I can just focus and I can see it more clearly. And you could do that with your goals. And it's just amazing. It's similar to that exercise we did when we turned around and then we closed our eyes and we came back and turned around. We'll do it with the candle as well, and you'll see. But the next one that you need to focus on is your, figure out your will. What are you willing to do? Are you willing to stay up a little extra? Are you willing to wake up a little extra? Are you willing to give up your favorite TV show? Are you willing to do, what are you willing to do for that imagination that go? Your memory is something you also need to work on. A lot of us let our memory from the past hinder us. We had a business going and it fell apart. Now we're afraid to rebuild it. A lot of us had people talk about us about doing something. Now we're letting that stop us from going. So a lot of times we let the memory hinder us from something great. And then your intuition, your intuition towards everything. What is it for you? Have you figured it out? And then the last one is just, it's your reason. What is your reason for doing it? No, I'm doing it for my kids. No, why are you really doing it for your kids? Is it because you want your kids to go to the college of their choice, debt free? Is it because you want to live your life without having to worry about what the bank account says? What is it? What is your reason? What is your true reason? Your why, as we know it as. What is your why? Is it really something that's going to push you and wake you up and keep you up? As I was listening to a podcast, as me and Ty love doing, we love listening to podcasts and sharing it with each other. But as we listened to one of them, it was a guy that he talked about him, with the guy that came overseas. But one of the things he said that he did was he gave himself a no way out. He moved all the way from Europe and came to Hawaii and moved there. And guess what? He gave himself a no reason to go back. So what is your reason? What is going to keep you going? What's going to push you? And so again, that's what I had. I didn't, I just wanted to talk about vision, because right now I believe it's the time that you need to at least sit down, a vision board, send it to somebody, send it to everybody that's in the group and just say, hey, here's mine. I'm about to go after this. I'm gonna go to the dollar store. I'm gonna buy me a new one. I'm just gonna start over, and I'm gonna put it all down. And I'm gonna this next few days, I'm gonna really focus in on that, because once you get that, now you can put the game plan together to go make it happen. And plus, you'll have the reason why you want everything. But I'm gonna pass it to Michelle, and Michelle, you can take it over, because I know reading your text message is about to be real good.
I don't know that I can follow that with anything better, Ant. You're on fire and wow this morning. So have you ever had like at the beginning of the year, you go and you get a day planner or a calendar, you like the paper thing, and it's got all of the little sections in it where it helps you to structure your day and ways to focus on goals. You got your short-term goals, like your immediate term goals, and then your short-term, and then your long-term goals. And you start that year off like, yes, I am going to use this. I am going to rock this. I am going to help myself achieve my goals using this tool. And you start off really good for a couple of days, maybe a few weeks. And then, you get busy one day, maybe the house gets a little bit cluttered and that calendar gets set on a counter. And as you're cleaning up, it gets put in a pile underneath of some stuff. And then you're like, oh, I'll get that tomorrow. I've got stuff going on today. And then tomorrow comes and you've got stuff going on and you forget. And then before you know it, it's been a week or a month and you haven't touched that calendar. I would be willing to bet that if you haven't touched your planner, your calendar, whatever that tool is, where you had your goals in front of you written down, if you haven't touched or seen that in a month, my guess is that you haven't progressed towards those goals in the same amount of time. And what I am so guilty of this myself. I start off with the best of intentions, and then life happens and I get distracted and I lose sight of it, both physically and mentally. Because I lost sight of it physically, I lose it mentally. And so what Ant's talking about, writing those goals down, have that vision board, whether it is like a poster board that you put up in your office or your bathroom or a workout space that has your goals displayed visually or with words that is something you're striving for, or maybe it is that planner, that calendar that you're working with. When we can put that in our physical space so that our eyes are seeing it and we're interacting with it physically, it triggers our brain to engage with it. And if it drops out of, that out of sight, out of mind thing, it's a real thing. And so if you've been like me, where you had the tool to start with and then you lost sight of it, I'm challenging myself and all of the rest of us here today, after we've just come out of this big event, let's get back to that and let's put it someplace where we're going to see it, where we're going to be reminded of it. Because when it gets out of our line of sight, our energy doesn't go there anymore. And I really liked what you talked about with those 3 different levels of goals. One of the things that I was talking with one of my team members about yesterday was working together as a team. We were talking about title advancement, and we were talking about how to help others in the team progress and move forward and title advance and building our organization. And his mindset was, well, I need to place a large order, and I want to attribute it to somebody else so that they get the credit and grow their business. I'm like, I love that. That is such a great idea. And that is such a great way to help others around us to grow. And we also talked about, it's wonderful to be able to do that. And we want to be helping our teams to grow organically so that we're actually growing the team and not just building volume 1 or 2 times, because we can, shoot for that goal and hit it once. But if we aren't putting the mechanisms in place and taking the steps necessary to build a strong foundation, if we're not growing our vision and our dream step by step through a solid foundation, we might hit those goals once, but we won't be able to sustain that. And as we were talking about that, I started realizing that there's some goals, like Ant talked about the 3 tiers of the goals that we have, those A level, where it's pretty easy, it's pretty straightforward. You can accomplish that. Like those ones are pretty easy to hit, because you know how to do that. And so there's a certain level of confidence with that goal. I can do that. I got it. That B level goal where you're like, yeah, that's a little bit harder. I might need a little extra push, a little extra resource, a little extra something to get there. And then that C level goal that's big, that you don't know how to get there. And as I'm hearing him talk about that, what I begin to sense and feel is that those A level goals are those goals where we don't need anybody else. We can do that ourselves. There's very little on the line with it because there's no risk involved or there's no challenge to it. Like, that's on me. I got it. I'm either going to make it happen or I'm not. It's easy. Those B level goals where you need just a little bit more are going to require that maybe you connect with another person or another 2 people. And perhaps you need resources or leverage that somebody else's influence or resources have that you don't currently. And so that requires a little bit different level of involvement from yourself and others. And then there's those C-level goals. And those are the goals where we're really going to excel in this business if we connect with others, because those are the goals that are bigger. They're more than ourselves. They are beyond us. We cannot achieve those C-level goals by ourselves. And in this business, we cannot achieve those high levels of income, of rank, of team building without others. And so as I'm thinking about this, I'm like, wow, we have such a huge opportunity with this company, with all the tools that we've been given here, with the relationships and the people. The people in this company are a massive resource. And as we begin to look at the people and those relationships as one of the greatest assets and resources that we have and tap into that, I think we're all going to start to see growth. And choosing to lay out those C-level goals where we cannot get there by ourselves. There's the saying, you can go faster alone, but we go farther together. That very much is relatable and valid here, because when we work together, and that's a hard thing, I think, in this, in our world, in our culture, especially here in the States. I don't know if it's different elsewhere in the world, but here in the States, we have this mindset, if you will, this cultural identity that says, it's all about me. It's about my independence. It's about my autonomy. It's a pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of a thought process. But what that does is it pushes people away. It puts the responsibility on yourself. And I saw a dear friend's post yesterday that was saying something to the effect of, I don't know why people say that God won't give you more than you can handle. I've never seen that scripture, never seen that. And the thing about it is we get a lot piled on us and it feels like more than we can handle, but we're not meant to handle it alone. And that's the whole point. Our big goals that we have, if you look at that big goal and you go, I don't know that I can get there. You're probably right. Alone, you can't get there alone. None of us are going to get to where we want to be in this business, in our finances, in the impact we're having on the world around us, if we don't do it with others. I know for me, when this opportunity, this business came into my life, it was to fulfill a calling that was to impact thousands of lives. And when I look at that and I try to get a bigger vision and a bigger picture for it, I cannot fulfill that calling and achieve that vision without each and every one of the thousands that are meant to be impacted. And not one of us can do that. We all have that same ability, that same responsibility to share with people, to help people improve their circumstances, to change their life, to create relationships that are life-giving, that perhaps will pull somebody back from the edge, to give them the ability to change their family's future and their finances, to create opportunity that they wouldn't have otherwise had. And each one of us has the ability to share that. And we might think, an A level is, I've got my personal transformation and I got a little bit of, financial or product benefit for myself. That's A level. B level might be, I shared it with my family. I got some people in my family and some close friends who started on the product and, they're starting to see a benefit. And so I'm good with that. And that C level, that's where we start impacting lives around the world. That's where we start to see cultures shift, where we start to see communities coming together, where we start to see lives changing on a big scale. And you can't get to that big scale without a lot of people, without joining arms with others and connecting with them and helping them to get to where they want to be. And as I was talking to my teammate yesterday, talking about this concept of building in a way that helps everybody on the team succeed, I started thinking about, I don't know if you guys remember, right before we went to Destin in February this year, Vanessa Skidmore had just come on board, and she went from buying her pack to president in like a week and a half. I don't know if you know this, but that's freaking unbelievable. It's possible. It can be done. And the way that she did it, and I will never forget her saying this, when they asked her on stage, when they recognized her for her title advancement, they said, "How did you do this?" And she said, "Well, my friend who shared it with me said she was working on a goal. And I came alongside of her and said, what can I do to help you achieve your goal?" And so when you have people upline from you or people in your organization who are trying to achieve a goal, let's come alongside of each other and say, what can I do to help you achieve your goal? Because when we shift the focus off of ourselves, and now I'm helping Ant, and now I'm helping Melissa, and now I'm helping Robin and Val and everybody else here. When that focus shifts from inward to outward, then we start to see things move. Because then it's about service. Then it's about heart. It's about others. It's about more than what you can achieve yourself. And so, you might be thinking, oh, well, it's my downline who I need to help. Maybe it's your upline. Let's not deny them our support in that. Because I tell you what, when we all come together and we have a bunch of us that come together and say, okay, this is, I'm looking at Robin's picture right now because she's my direct upline. We had a conversation yesterday. What do you need to get to your next level? So when we come together that way and we can sit with our teammates, upline and downline, and say, all right, what's your goal? How can I help you get where you want to be? In the process of doing that, if I'm helping Robin to hit her goal, and then I've got new people coming on downline, and I'm like, let's get you to ultimate. Let's get you gold. Let's get you your 4. And, I'm helping them downline, but I'm also focused on her upline. Guess what? We're all growing. We're all building. We're all experiencing more success and more growth. And the more we do it together, the faster we're going to get there, the more solid our base is going to be. And when the focus shifts from us to others, we're going to impact more people. And that C-level goal that when you put it down on paper seemed completely out of reach and overwhelming and unattainable, all of a sudden you're going to go, oh, it's coming. It's getting closer. I'm realizing steps to achieving it. And it's because I started focusing on others. And the other thing I want to share is that we each have exactly the same opportunity here. When Todd Rowland and Aaron Decker and Robin DeMio and all of our big leaders, when they saw this opportunity, they saw exactly the same opportunity that the brand new person just saw. Only now it's even bigger. What they started with was small compared to what we have today. But my point is that they didn't receive different information or a different possibility or a different strategy. We all have exactly the same opportunity. What's different is what we choose to do with it, what we believe is possible. When I was there over the weekend and I saw so many of our amazing leaders being recognized on stage, I thought to myself, I love that. And there's no reason I can't be there. There is no reason why I cannot be there as well. And when that thought process shifts from that's awesome for them, they got lucky, they know more people than I know, to why can't I? It's exactly the same opportunity that they have. It's the same comp plan. It's the same products. It's the same structure, the same system. Everything within the opportunity is the same for each one of us. But what makes the difference is what we do with it. Like a craftsman, Lance would never start a project, a construction project, without a blueprint. He would not start building something without knowing what he's building. And you might give him a set of tools and supplies and give the next guy who's got 5 minutes in the game the same tools and supplies. And they might produce something completely different. In fact, they probably will, because it's about what we do with it. It's about how do we apply ourselves? How do we, use those tools that we all have them, and you might take somebody who's of the same caliber and the same level, give them the same tools, the same supplies, and say, here you go. And they're going to build something totally different. And that's okay. We all have that ability. We have that same opportunity, the same ability to produce wealth, to change lives, to impact people. It's just about what do we choose to do with it. We can sit back and say, I got my benefit, I'm good. Or we can choose to say, let's share with a couple people. Or we can make a really big splash and say, how many people can I help? That C-level goal, not a one of us is going to get there by ourselves. So let's do it together. Ant, back to you.
Let's absolutely do it together. Set your goals, set them high. One of my goals was to build in multiple countries with this business. And it's amazing that I sit here. I didn't notice that somebody put this new passport that just came in. See, you got to set the goal and then you got to go after it. And that's the thing. What is it that you want, you guys? And I'm not doing it to brag because I'm just a regular person, but I set the goal and I just went after it. And I'm still not done. My goal is to be a chairperson. What is your goal? Who are you willing to tell? See, I put it out there because I know that not only the people that's on the screen is going to watch it, but there's other people who are going to watch the recording and they can hold me accountable. So when they see me slacking off, they can just tell me, say, hey, you're not going to get the chairperson that way. And, so it's just the way it is, you guys. So set the C-level type goals, get the vision, and let's get the calendars out and let's get to work. When is your next 2 events? What 2 Zooms you got set up? What 2 house parties? If you don't mind people coming by your house, what is it? It doesn't matter. There's no excuse now. Well, I don't want nobody at my house. Okay, well, you better set up 2 Zooms. So what is your calendar looking like the next 10 days? So what is it that you want? And let's go for it, you guys. Hey, I believe everybody can achieve any goal that they want. I'm willing to do anything I possibly can to help out. And so let's go change the world. Let's make North America number 1. I'm tired of hearing about Europe. And so let's go make North America number 1. Let's go make Canada, Mexico, and the United States number 1. And let's make them look at us and say, hey, what are they doing that we need to be doing? So let's go do this. I'm going to unmute the line so you can tell Michelle how awesome she is, because she is awesome.
And Ant, he starts us out with goals.